What is this?
What is this magic? Let me
Amazing.
just check. Got it. I don't know. Oh, we haven't appeared yet on the
We
live
haven't
feed.
appeared just
We
yet.
haven't-
No worries.
It's still going to count down. Okay, so
I mean,
kind of missing our faces on the Instagram, but you can hear. Look.
Oh, you can hear us.
Yeah, you can hear us.
I'm going to put a link out right now.
And it's all good. So, yeah, just for anyone watching on Instagram, this will be best viewed on the YouTube.
Putting a link out right now.
YouTube or Facebook. We're live everywhere. Everywhere you believe. So, yes, absolutely. This is 100% better viewing on YouTube. I've got to be honest. But, yes, hello.
Hello, dear Forrest. How are you, my friend?
I am dandy, mate. How are you?
You know what? It's been a hell of a week for both of us.
Oh,
hence why we're doing this right now. We haven't done an upload on Wednesday. Sorry for that, by the way. But yes, we are finally together. Not to say that we haven't been together this week. We have.
We've been
things.
In a work capacity. We've been together quite a lot this week. But yeah, we've been way too busy in order to do this, unfortunately.
Way too busy.
But yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
and it is exciting. Big shout out to Light Camera Rant already. Just for this, basically, Lee and me did a podcast last weekend, and he introduced me to StreamYard, which we are now using, Lee. Yes. And it's doing this. It just means it like Matt, you said, it like improved us from about 1 to 10 in terms of production value.
It's great. Like I've been giggling for the past hour because it's so cool. Like all of this is so cool. Slightly overwhelming, but like it's all great. This is great. This is what we're going to be most likely using, I think, going forward. I think we usually, in terms of our podcast, dear listener, we always use like Zoom and stuff. We've been using Zoom for the past couple of years, and let's be honest, who the heck uses Zoom now, right?
Oh, it's old school tech.
Exactly. We need StreamYard, and this seems to be. And we're not sponsored by StreamYard right now. I'm not just. We're not.
Nah.
No. We could be if we wanted to be. I mean, we're open to it.
We'd love to be. Get in touch with it.
This looks amazing.
StreamYard is, and also, hell yeah, looking good, says Lee. Look at that.
Look at this. It's popping up on our screens. Oh my god.
And love it.
Just geeking out massively.
Oh, we are. Well, I'm having an absolute geek fest right now. But yeah, it's just brilliant. It's just amazing. And we're gonna, this will enable us to do a hell of a lot more. So obviously we've got our Patreon that's launched, and with that we're going to do some bonus content, and we can rope in some gaming in there and all sorts using this fantastic, beautiful equipment. So lots of exciting times ahead. But here we are today. We're here on our monthly roundup.
We bloody well are. And do you know what? I mean, it's technically the 1st of July, so we're already slap bang straight into July. But we're going to be talking about all of the news that was dropped in the month of June in terms of MCU and DC news. When I say all, I say as much as possible. I think we'll be here for about 4 or 5 hours if we were going to go in through everything. Because to be perfectly honest, a lot happens in terms of developments with the Jonathan Majors case. You've got developments with the now even more delays against the writers' strikes. So, more rumors and stuff about fantastic forecasting. There's loads of things that we can be talking about. I think, one of the great opportunities of doing this episode as a live stream is that if you guys want us to talk about anything, or if you know any bits of news and stuff, put it on a comment, let us know, and then we can have a chat about it together. This could be a proper, really good opportunity to have some great interaction with you guys as well. So let's make that opportunity today, and we'll talk about things. Shoot the shit, as we say, and talk all things MCU and DC.
That is. I just had a message from a friend. So we're just going to recap it a couple of times during the stream. This stream will be best viewed on YouTube. You can hear us on Instagram, but best viewed on YouTube, which you can find in our link tree, which Matt has commented in. So yeah, have a look on YouTube or Facebook, and we will try and get a version of this on Instagram, which is a little bit more user friendly, to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, loads of news. So without further ado, and utilizing our new features to the best of their ability, let's move really swiftly onto this.
And I play this. Does that even work? I don't even know.
Kind of. Yeah, I could hear it. Are you using? Is
Really
that the?
quiet.
Oh, I've set it to really quiet. There you go. Try again.
Okay, ready? Announce it again. Announce it again. Ready? Here we go. Seamless.
And our news bulletin is Spider-Man. And Craven the Hunter. Here he is. That sounded
oh gosh, I mean, what a way to start, Forrest. Jeez. I don't know how I feel about Craven, man. The trailer dropped I think mid last week. We're watching it. It's I just get Morbius vibes.
Yeah,
Mobius vibes, not Morbius. No, what am I talking about? Mobius, isn't it?
Mobius, yeah.
I get Morbius and Mobius mixed up. It's quite. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. But yeah, like it just gives me this kind of weird, just convoluted, smack together. Is it a villain story? I know that Sony's focusing on villains at the moment and stuff, you know, in the MCU, you know, in Marvel, but I just can't see this working against anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's rumors that there's connections going to be sort of placed in with Mobius, with Venom, with now Craven the Hunter, but like, do we need it? We've got enough going on.
We have. So Sony have said that there's been some information that's come out since the trailer where Sony have released a statement that says like this film is set prior to Craven's feud with Spider-Man, which now is kind of signified that, well, okay, so we will get a tie-in later down the road.
Yeah.
But I think the problem, and it's the same issue that we have with Venom, right? Is that all of these standalone films prior to Spider-Man being involved have just all not been the best of quality. You know, some of Venom is all right, but yeah, really kind of piss poor in terms of standalone on the whole, which is a real shame, to be fair.
I mean, and again, it's one of those trailers, and this is happening a lot at the moment in cinema, is that when they're just dropping trailers and you're just showing the whole story. You're showing the whole story, beginning, middle, and end in short clips in like a 90-second trailer. And that trailer, teaser trailer that we're getting is literally quite obviously going to be the whole story, you know. It just, I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical. I don't know what else much to say about other than the fact that I'm a little bit skeptical about it. I think we're probably going to see interesting moments, probably good bits of action and live action as well. But the only bit in that trailer that I took away from, and I was talking to Lee about this as well, is when the spiders are coming down from the trees in the woods sort of scene that he's in, and it looks like almost the same type of spider that's on Andrew Garfield's suit. You know, with the longer legs, it's a bit more, let's say, lankier spider. So I maybe Craven's tied into that universe.
Yeah, maybe so. And I think we're gonna. Yeah, it's a shame. Sony are evidently just kind of going, well, you know, until we can let's just pump out all the films that will get all of these new people on on film and ahead of any big Spider-Man movie. But problem is, if they're going to treat a Spider-Man movie in the same vein that they've treated these films, I albeit we haven't seen Craven the Hunter, so it could come out and could be brilliant. Who knows? This is based on the trailer, but it's just a bit like, well, by the time we get to any Spider-Man tie-in, this is already going to be absolutely piss poor. So everyone's going to go and see it. But that's the problem, right? Is that everyone's going to go and see it as soon as they do Spider-Man with Venom, with Craven. Everyone will go and see it, which is annoying in the sense that they're gonna milk that dry and get all the money right for it, but actually for piss poor quality. So they can just do any old crap because they know the vast majority will go and watch it because of Spider-Man anyway.
Yeah,
which is a shame. Quality needs to be there, and that's what Marvel does best, and that's why Marvel, should have all of this. Sony, say goodbye, please. Move away.
Do you think? I mean, this is a wide comment here, but like, do you think Sony should just let go of other? I think in terms of Miles Morales, in terms of Across the Spider-Verse, that's all. But in terms of these real live action superheroes, supervillains that they're still holding rights to, in terms of Sony, do you think they should just drop it and just stop doing these types of movies and just let Disney get on with what they're doing?
I think so. I think, at the end of the day, I think businesses now, all businesses everywhere, you've got to kind of climatize to the situation around you, right? Marvel, you're never going to beat a beast like Marvel / Disney, right? They are conglomerates of a different breed, right? So Sony's never going to matter. Even if Sony brought out one good film, that doesn't mean that the amount of fans that go and watch a Marvel film will then religiously go and watch Sony films from that moment on, right? They're too often on. They also don't have a lot of property themselves, right? They've only got
They haven't got
handful of characters. So I just don't see the point anymore. I think Sony just do what you do well and find a way. Like, it's not going to stop for the video games, for instance. Sony's always going to have a video game because that's a completely different. That would be a different license and like you say, with the animation of Miles Morales, I'm sure there's quirks that can be done in these contracts, but actually the characters should need to move over now, and that should be that. I think Sony do that. Sony got plenty of other stuff, and also the money they get from doing that, because they'll sell it. Obviously, they sell it, so the money they get from doing that can go towards the things they are good at and making sure. So at the moment, you've got the whole Microsoft versus Sony massive fight going on with Activision in terms of gaming, right? So actually, Sony's having to concentrate quite heavily on acquisitions in its gaming sector. So actually, sell these characters on, use that money to buy back at Microsoft, which is where Sony does best, right? Gaming, I would argue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in terms of going back to Craven as well, Aaron Taylor Johnson is a great actor. I actually rate him quite a lot as a performer, as a movie actor as well. He's done some really good performances, some other not so, but I think in terms of his efforts, they're quite consistent. I think in terms of I'm just reading an article from the direct.com. And it says here that there were early plans for Craven the Hunter to then be crossed over into a Spider-Man movie. Because obviously, this is the other thing. This is a notorious Spider-Man villain, right?
Yeah.
This is a really famous Spider-Man villain. And you are literally just taking this villain out and then just shoving it into an origin story with no connection to Spider-Man at all.
Yeah.
There must be. I mean, it won't surprise me, but there must be some sort at the end of this movie, a tie into Spider-Man or some sort of hint. We're getting that with those spiders coming down, but like
Mhm.
they're just spiders. We're talking about the person, Yeah,
But and also, my fear is that we're tying too closely to the gaming as well, because
yeah,
Spider-Man 2, which is about to come out, is all about Kraven the Hunter, Venom, and Spider-Man,
yeah,
right? Kraven
yeah,
was in the trailer of that game. Venom, symbiotic with Spider-Man, all of
yeah,
that stuff is all kicking off. So I'm like, well, we're kind of getting into lands here, and I'm like, I
yeah,
don't really want to go and see a movie about a game I've just played that is really similar. I'm just
yeah.
like, fucking hell. And if that's derivative of how many characters Sony owns, then I think that's probably time to sell up.
Time to sell up. Sell it up, Sony. Sell it up.
Get rid, lose
Get
it,
rid.
give to Marvel. And although let's be fair, the way Marvel's going, mate, at the moment might not be the best place.
I mean,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
some of its films are not quite good of quality, which
Well,
moves us
I was gonna say.
swiftly over to something that is very good, which is this beast.
Oh, righty, righty. Here we go. Here we go.
Secret
Okay.
Invasion. So, have you caught up yet, Matt?
I have. We're not going to give any spoilers, though, are we? For anybody that
No,
hasn't seen it yet.
no, it's bloody good though.
When I when I say no spoilers, I'm currently only episode 1 in.
What?
I know. I
You've
know.
not caught up then?
No. So I intended to watch the second episode last night, but I got distracted by the new season of Witcher.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Matt! What are you
Yeah.
playing? Your whole livelihood is around this.
Yeah. I know,
Unbelievable.
and it is funny, isn't it? Because I am finding I'm not I might be doing this unintentionally, but like it's just like when you get lots of content and you know that you've got to watch it, I have to kind of psych myself up for it for a bit. Like and then as well now, and this is the podcast's fault. I'm not every time I'm watching anything that's Marvel related, I really have to go. Okay, I've got to really focus about this. I got
Yeah,
to really
same.
watch. I got to really
Yeah.
watch. But yeah, no, I've watched the first episode, and yeah, no, it's great. You've got some serious thoughts about this, mate. So I'm going to let you go and start on this before I then pitch in.
It is. So I absolutely love it, right? And it's kind of killing me inside. You haven't watched the second episode
Really?
because, oh my god, this is such a good show. Just every minute of so they're about an hour long episodes. But every minute is something new, something fresh, like interesting scenes, very little filler. I like this whole spy thriller kind of genre we're getting with it.
Yeah.
I find it's a really interesting piece of TV, and one of my favorite pieces of TV for a long time. I think the way that they set it up, it doesn't. Nothing feels like stereotypical superhero or as a stereotypical villain. It all feels like I could be watching this show, on any network, on anything, any channel, whatever. Nick Fury's character, there's so much mystery there, and questions, and I think that's one of my favorite things is that each episode leaves you with as many questions unanswered as it does as many questions answered. But unlike a couple of programs I'm a fan of, I'm trying to think, maybe The Walking Dead did it a bit, where you kind of didn't get many answers for most of the series, and then they just
Mm.
left all the answers right to the end. Whereas this is Secret Invasion's got a good kind of, you get a nice couple of answers and then a big old question in the episode, which is another reason why the second episode kills me, Matt,
Oh,
because
really?
it's got a big old question at the end of it.
Oh my gosh.
A big old question.
Well, I've
Yeah,
got to watch it. I think after this stream, I'm definitely going to go and situate myself down in the living room and watch it.
I'm going to ask the audience one question, and it's not got a spoiler, but all I'm going to say is, does he know?
Oh my god, that's so loaded.
That's so low. And honestly, mate, does he know? And you're,
I mean,
can't.
I'm genuinely trying to think. I'm genuinely trying to think who he's talking about. Does he know?
Yeah,
Does he know?
does he know?
He's
And
talking about Talos.
yeah, no, I can't. I don't. I wouldn't want to spoil. If
Yeah,
Lee,
well,
if you're
this is
watching and you
non-spoiler
have
then.
watched the second episode, if Lee's watched the second episode, yeah, you tell me if you understand the question. Does he know? I'm sure. I'm sure he does. But yes, yeah, great. It was really good. Also, kind of set pieces on it is really good. So like
Mm-hmm.
locations. We have, obviously in the first episode, you've got the kind of there's quite a big scene in a square. Which, and I think that's really cool. It reminded me of some really cool films, a bit in Dark Knight, for instance, with the snipers on the rooftop and stuff. And it kind
Yeah.
of gave the way the cinematography worked during those scenes was really effective, I thought.
Do you know what? I'm looking forward for us to review this later when it meets our episode by episode. So we, it's obviously, dear listener, you all know, but like we, going through every single movie and TV show of the MCU. So this will be probably at some point, maybe later this year or even early next year for us. But like when we get to it that point, and I'll watch it again in its entirety, I'm really interested to see how it moves as a series because it's really difficult. And I think this is good. I prefer the format of uploading or dropping an episode weekly, as they say now, instead of giving it to us in one whack. Because again, right, and if I were to put this in comparison, The Witcher season 3 came out this week. All episodes are there. Like I found myself really enjoying the first episode, sort of enjoying the second one, and then I just sort of like found myself going on my phone a little bit too much in the third one. I was like, hang on, I've checked out. I need to stop. I need to go back and watch that again later. So I think this kind of gives you that kind of the enough attention span that we now poorly don't have enough of as human beings now in this age. To go, okay, cool. I'm going to really enjoy this episode, and we'll really look forward to the next week, and then happening it from that way. And I remember really enjoying that with Moon Knight. Yes. And I know that's coming up really, really quickly for us and really soon, which I cannot wait. And I remember I've never been so excited to wait for an episode, with Moon Knight in that series, episode by episode. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next week. And it became an event. And that's what you want, right? When you watch TV series, that's the whole concept, right? That's what we know from the history of age of TV. We want to wait for the next episode. We want to wait for the next one. So I think in terms of dropping these episodes weekly is a really good shout. And I think the way that they're currently, I've only watched the first episode, but like in terms of the way that's being packaged and the way it's being told, it's really, really great. My phone's going off. Do you hear that?
I can hear that.
Do you know what's really okay? So this is my house phone, right? I've lost my house phone.
Who has a house phone these days?
I know. Well, I don't know, mate. Me apparently.
That feels old school, mate.
I've lost it. So I don't know where it is. Oh, it's stopped now. It's stopped.
All right, and by the way, I'm saying who has a house phone. I'm aware a lot of people do. I'm just saying people our age I would argue don't typically have a house phone.
That's true. It's true. That's fair.
But I love that. I love that for you, mate. What was I going to say? I was going to say you're talking about episodes. Yeah, I completely agree about. I really prefer this one episode a week. It annoys you if it's a really good series, waiting for the next one. But actually, like you say, your attention span's better. You're really watching that carefully. Which is good. I just want to for anyone who's just tuned in, if you watch us on YouTube, you can see the whole screen. And I'm aware on Instagram it's a little bit of a fuck fest, but at least you can hear us. But if you go into Instagram, Don't Be Hero Podcast, or on our Facebook page, you'll be able to you'll be able to see us and hear us. So give that a go. Also, Moon Knight, you mentioned. Still haven't seen. I am saving it for the podcast. I can't wait. So it was a series that I didn't watch when it first came out, and then we created this podcast, and I was like, right, I'm going to wait until we get there before I encounter it. And I'm glad I've decided to do that. To be fair,
mate, it's. I mean, I can't wait. But like we've got. So in terms of like next week. we've got to go and review a movie that we have been not looking forward to the moment we've started this podcast.
Oh,
and that's Eternals. We've got Eternals next week. I'm scared. What if we love it? What if we love it though? What if it's completely different? What if the viewing, like we've only the first film that me and Forrest went and saw together was Eternals, and that's when we decided to do the podcast as well. So the Eternals is kind of mixed with like excitement, love for the podcast. What a great idea! We've got to do this. We're gonna have so much fun with doing this. With also then wrapped around with the fact that, oh my god, what is this movie? It's a dumpster fire of an MCU movie. But mate, that was in the cinema. What if it's amazing when we watch it at home?
Maybe.
What if it's also different?
Am I wrong in thinking it's quite a long film as well? It felt like a very long film. But yeah, felt like a very. Tell you what, anyone watching, have a look it up and comment below. How long is that film? Was it a long one, or am I just did it just feel like a long one?
Did it just feel it was just an age?
Feel really long.
But can we just? I mean, we're not reviewing, but like, what are your thoughts in terms of like key performances so far in Secret Invasion? Because I'm genuinely interested.
I mean, Samuel Jackson is killing it. Like Nick Fury is outstanding.
Yeah.
I Emilia Clarke as Gaia, I am thoroughly enjoying, and it because I was no. Well, yeah.
No, I mean yes. I mean yes and no.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
so
for me,
it was I basically wanted to see something that was very different to her character from Game of Thrones. I was concerned because it was in this kind of fantasy, sci-fi. It's not in the same bracket as Game of Thrones, but I was just worried that we were going to get a bit of a similar. So I quite like it's a very different character. Gaia is a very different character. I feel like we don't know a lot. Well, no, we do know a fair bit, but we in terms of personality, we're not getting a lot. But I am putting that to the fact that we're going to get an episode which shows a bit of her backstory.
Okay, fair play. All right.
What are your thoughts?
I think my thoughts are. I don't know. This is literally my own. This is my own fault. My own. She immortalized a character for me in Game of Thrones, and when I see her in anything else, I find it really difficult to unsee that character.
Yeah,
and I get that with a few actors and actresses in movies and TV series. Like I remember, like it's the same thing with like we'll talk about Superman later on, but whenever I see Henry Cavill, I see Superman, right? And even watching The Witcher sees, and he does Geralt of Rivia just brilliantly, but like I still see Superman, right? And I can't unsee it. So it's my own issue. Her performances are great. There was one bit I have to say it, and I know she's open and okay to when she talks about these things. Her eyebrows, right? Her eyebrow acting, mate. Have you seen it? There's a bit where she kind of like sits and slumps down and kind of she's all very emotional in the first episode. And you just see these eyebrows wriggle like this through emotion. It's amazing. It's incredible. Her eyebrow acting is second to none.
You are this takes me all the way back to when we reviewed Thor for the first time. Matt and facial hair. It's just like it's a combination. If you want to hear Matt talk about facial hair in depth, go all the way back to the very first Thor that we reviewed.
Someone's got to talk about it.
I know you're very. It is a. And stupidly, every time I watch something, I don't go right. I need to look at the facial hair, so I'm on par with Matt once he comes in the room. But
once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I'm gonna have another look.
Continuity in the hair follicles, my friend.
I can't wait. I'm looking at episode 3. I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna check it out. So there is something that happens in episode 2, in the first little 2 minutes prior to the Marvel. So we get a little scene prior to the Marvel logo in episode
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
right? Now, once you've seen it, if you go back to a conversation me and Lee had last week, because it does something which I feel should have happened at the beginning of episode 1. And it's not really explained as to why they popped it in episode 2 instead.
Right.
So I'm gonna, I'm being
Okay.
ambiguous as possible.
It's quite ambiguous, right?
But there is something, yeah. I think I can get away with saying it's a flashback, which I kind of would have preferred in the first episode. It gives context, and you're like, well, hang on a minute, I needed context. Episode 1. So,
Okay.
and I'm not on about the second bit. So there's 2 bits of flashback. I'm on about the first one, not the second. Honestly, Matt, you need to keep up, mate. You need to keep up.
You are honestly like you came in. Like I remember when you first watched the first episode earlier this week, didn't you? Because we've been seeing each other a few days this week, and you were like, mate, so excited.
It's like honestly, I'm like a bee to its honey, mate.
Mate, if you're excited about this, wait till you watch Moon Knight.
Okay. Moon Knight. To be fair, a lot of people have. Yeah, I am looking forward to Moon Knight, but I wanted to keep it. I wanted to save that for our special days, mate.
To be fair, when I said I think you'd love Moon Knight, I did say about 6 months ago you'll love What If, and we all know how those episodes turned out.
And that was absolute, that turn. But even you changed your mind about that. I don't think Moon Knight will be the same. To be fair, What If was you were like, it's amazing. It was absolutely not amazing.
It's weird, but this is what I'm worried about for next week in terms of Eternals. When we review Eternals, the movie, dear listener, you've got to check out that episode next week. It's one of those episodes you're just going to have to listen to because we've been waiting to talk about Eternals for 2 years, and it's finally coming next week. And I think I'm worried that I'm going to end up loving it. I'm gonna turn over to the other fence. I'm gonna be like, you know what, you guys, you're right.
I'd like us to like it because then it's going to make it a half interesting pod. Otherwise, I really feel for our listeners who've got to sit through that absolute joke of a podcast,
screaming down the mic. Why do they do this?
What is this shit? But we're gonna move on now to the writer's strike. Talk us through the writer's strike. What has it affected?
Wow, what do you say? People's jobs, people's livelihoods are on the line here. We've got people talking about their rates of pay, the way that their hours have worked. We all know that writers are overworked, my friends. All right. Writers are one of the most, I would say, underutilized and underpaid creatives, specialists as well in the creative industries. And it's, fair play to them. This has happened a couple times now, I'd say, in terms of recent history, with the Writers Guild going on strike, particularly with TV shows. But usually it's kind of more focused with the bigger businesses out there, with the bigger movies now, especially with Hollywood blockbuster movies and MCU, and Marvel and Disney being one of those big businesses that are kind of very much affected by this. Now, it's been going on for quite some time. It's created a huge ripple effect, I think, in terms of delays with the movies, which we'll talk about in a moment, but equally as well with just planning and just development with events and releasing of trailers as well. Like we've got Marvel, MCU, K-Dog, have announced that they're not going to be at Comic-Con this year I think it's got to be the first time. It's quite, and people think that might be to do with Jonathan Majors, but I think this is more to do with all the delays and the writers' strike. There's also now rumors that there will be an actors' union strike following this as well. And we're wondering whether the reason why they're not going to be at Comic-Con this year as well is due to the actors' strike as well. And I think this all needs to happen. I'm just I'll say it now. As somebody that is very much on board with unionization. I think you've if you're getting underpaid and you're getting underused, you've just got to make sure that your voice is heard, because things change will happen eventually, you know.
I think one of the big reasons as well for this particular strike is the use of AI, and the AI obviously, chat GPT,
Yeah.
which is basically writing whole scripts for people, and with the rise of AI, where's it going to stop? And I think even in Secret Invasion, there was a little bit of flack for the fact that AI was used for the credits. I don't know if you were
Mate, it
aware of
looks
that.
terrible.
The
Yeah, I was.
opening,
It looks
yeah,
absolutely ridiculous. Why the fuck did they not hire somebody to do something? There would be people, artists out there, chomping at the bit to get their work featured on an MCU project. That would be the making of that team, right? It's yeah. I think they're trying to find cost-effective ways, going through AI, getting AI, scripts, AI artwork done to get their projects going forward and getting to meet their deadlines. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's the right way about doing it, and it's mistreating workers that need the money, mate. You know.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. And I think there is an episode. Have you watched this series of Black Mirror?
Not yet. Not yet.
There's an episode of Black Mirror, this series, which is basically like all about kind of actors being used on the screen, but only their face is used. So that like AI has controlled their kind of movements and everything like that. And I recommend you go and watch it. It's a great episode. I think it's We Hate Joan, is it? We Hate Joan, maybe it's
Right.
called. Black Mirror, what is it called? Let's get it live. Joan is awful, that's it. Joan is awful. And yeah, so I think actors have absolutely, as well as writers, got to be just as careful about the rise in AI and what that's going to cause. But yeah, so what another thing that came out, so Scarlett Johansson, which kind of confused some people really, because Scarlett Johansson had kind of alluded to the fact that she was done, like after she done Black Widow, and that was that. We'd got Yelena, we were going to lose Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, and obviously dead in the MCU anyway, right? So, but Scarlett Johansson's come out and said that she was working on something, but it is delayed without any timeline. Delayed for the foreseeable, but people are thinking it might be a Red Room TV series.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a Red Room TV series.
Oh, but with her in it.
Well, I would assume so. I'm going to assume so. But quite how that works, maybe it's her character, not Scarlett Johansson. So maybe it's a younger Black Widow. Maybe what we're going to see.
Okay, I mean, so that's been completely dropped.
Well, it's just been hell. It's been hell, and to be fair, no one knows what the project is. I'm speculating it's Red Room.
Right.
But she has said that she was working on something, and that has been just not given any further thought until this is over. But yeah, I'm trying to find where I found that. Yes, teasers return to Marvel films. Scarlett Johansson, the major star, she teased an upcoming project with her pals at Marvel, saying she would love to direct one of their films.
Oh, okay.
But I think there is another one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I did see it somewhere. Confirms work on a new MCU project. There you go.
Nice. So in terms of like the delays of the movies and certain projects that have been pushed back, we'll name those in a moment, but we do have a couple of movies that have been pushed forward, my friend.
Woo!
Which is pretty exciting. So what's crazy to think is that we're going to get Deadpool 3 a lot sooner than we thought. I think the initial release was going to be November 8th, I think, 2024. And now it's been moved up to May the 3rd, 2024, which is crazy. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I think I don't know whether this was done deliberately, to the fact that they've gone, okay, we're going to push back some certain movies, but we'll push these ones forward to keep the audience sweet.
Yep.
But Deadpool 3 has been moved forward. Captain America Brave New World is also being brought forward as well. So that's, I mean, so it's, I think in terms of, I think in terms of Captain America, I think that needs to come sooner than later. I think if we were to delay a Captain America movie anymore, we kind of lose that new Captain America, Anthony Mackie, on a hot streak at the moment. We need to keep that going, I think. So I think that's a good
Mm.
shout. I think in terms of the initial release date was also, no, maybe that was November. I'm trying to think of my head. I think it was Brave New World was November, but I think now it's being shifted back into July. I think July 26th, 2024. I can see
Mm.
from clutchpoints.com. Thank you very much. I've just literally gone on that article. 26, yeah, July 26th, 2024. And Thunderbolts, okay, which
Mhm.
hasn't yet to roll cameras, has been moved from July 26th, 2024 to December. So that has been moved back just ever so slightly.
So what? To which year? 2024.
Thunderbolts 2024, yeah.
July to September. Interesting. Yeah. So I really hope they haven't. I really hope Deadpool is not going to be. I'm just worried that because they're moving it like earlier, like there's no issues with the filming, despite the writers' strike, despite Jonathan Majors, despite this and that. I'm just worried that it's not too standalone. Like it would
Right.
be great because we like Deadpool, but I feel like it's verging on the kind of this film is kind of meaningless in the broader picture, which doesn't make sense now they've rolled Deadpool into the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, it really needs to like have a reason why they've popped it in the universe. So I'm a bit worried they're bringing it forward because it kind of feels to me that it's a kind of throwaway film, so they can do it whenever they want. That's what all of this news emerging about it filming really quickly, doing this just feels a bit too throwaway. I don't know.
Did you just say, or maybe my brain is telling me you did this earlier this week, that Scarlet Witch is meant to be in Deadpool 3 as a villain?
Oh really?
Someone told me this.
Oh
I'm
okay.
trying to think who it might have been. It might have been Rach. But I think there might be some sort of rumors that Scarlet Witch might turn up.
Oh yeah,
I
I can
mean,
see that. Can see that happening.
mm, it's weird
Um,
though.
uh,
It's weird to think that should be in a movie like that.
yeah, if yes, because she doesn't like really comedy. I wouldn't go. Oh yeah, comedy
No.
film. Like let's get the Scarlet Witch in.
Mm,
Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Don't know about that. Not sure how I
yeah.
feel about that. And to
But
be fair, again, that would still match up with my kind of belief that this could be quite throwaway because
yeah, I think it
we've
might
kind
be,
of moved
mate.
on to Agatha in the bigger picture, haven't we? Really?
Yeah, yeah. But in terms of like the biggest movies that have been delayed, is our two big Avengers movies, which is Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, which have almost been delayed by a full year.
Mm,
Going from May the 2nd now to May the 1st, 2026. So it's, I mean, May Kang Dynasty, we're looking like in 3 years' time. And Secret Wars, not till now, May 7th, 2027. I'll be 37.
yeah,
I'll be nearly 40. Nearly 40 till I
before
get to
next,
see
mate.
Secret Wars.
Yeah, if we ever
Insane.
see it, mate. If we ever see it. If
Oh, that's a
if
bit. Oh, scandalous. What do you mean?
If Marvel don't completely change the game because Jonathan Majors has completely fucked it for him.
Well,
Um,
I don't know if we're planning to talk about him, but there are some developments in the case as well. from
Oh, are
him.
there? I have not
Yeah.
got a slide, but we can absolutely we can go to a blank slide
Oh.
like this. There you go. Ta-da!
Imagine his face right there. I think in terms of Jonathan Majors, so he's so there've been court hearings, and the current court hearings, and the current kind of response that's coming back is he's the police have found evidence, and he has found evidence as well that he was not the aggressor in the confrontation. So I think it's Grace, his then partner, actually attacked him first. So I think in terms of, I think the police are kind of still monitoring it, and I think they've still got to take things to trial. I think, but I think
Yes.
ultimately, and actually Anthony Mackie has come out as well this previous week talking about the fact that the dude's not been is proved still guilty, right? Proven still guilty. That's the system that they have in America. That's the system we have in this country too, right? Innocent till
Yeah.
proven guilty. And I think this is kind of like a big step, in Jonathan Major's favor. However, not to say that the situation is still really, really tricky for him, and not to say that he's not at fault,
Well,
either.
exactly. Because also within the last 24 hours, there's been a new report on Jonathan Majors, which alleges that he's almost had a decade of abuse.
Right.
And that's in IGN. Rolling Stone reported that Jonathan Majors was violent on a set of Magazine Dreams when he filmed Magazine Dreams. So it's kind of this isolated incident that it started with seems to have unraveled quite a response. I'm sure either way, I think Anthony Mackie's kind of public statement probably didn't go down too well with K-Dog, I would imagine. I think they probably advised everyone involved with Marvel to shut up until the final remarks have come out. And the thing is, I agree with Anthony Mackie. No one is guilty until they're proven guilty. But I do think someone going through a court case, I think we just have to leave that process, especially if you're representing quite a big part in the films.
100%. I think we just have to wait and see. It's so messy right now in MCU, and I honestly don't know how they would fix that. And we've spoken about it a few times before, and I think in a few episodes as well with our monthly roundups. But we just have to wait and see. We have to play it out, and I'm sure that that's what they're gonna have to do as well, and that's what they're doing. But it's a really, really horrible situation. I think in terms of if it comes to Jonathan Majors having to be dropped in order for this to happen, I think it needs to happen sooner than later. I think we need to rectify that before we get any more delays, because he is playing a role that is pivotal to the future of the MCU. But yes, that's all we'll say. What are we talking about next? Go.
What do you
Next
want to
slide.
talk about next? We haven't got another slide, mate. There's no more
Oh, do we not?
slides. No. What's
I thought we had another slide.
what was on your radar?
We need to talk about DC now, mate. This is what happens all the time. We're slightly biased. I'll be quite honest. We lean really heavily to the MCU, but we do need to talk about DCU.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about it's not DC, but we did talk about Craven. That wasn't Marvel.
Oh well, but it is Marvel, isn't it? Craven is Marvel. It's just Sony.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. If you want to say that, that's fine.
Right, shall we shall we talk about the new We need to talk about the new Superman casting, man. We've got to.
What has been announced?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. This is why I was really glad that we're doing the episode today, because it got announced later this week.
Wow.
There were so we all know the James Gunn It's come and taken over DC into the now DCU, and with the whole kerfuffle with Henry Cavill announcing Man of Steel 2 getting dropped, James Gunn outwardly saying he's not part of the plans in terms of Superman going forward. So they're going to be recasting. One of the first names that was brought forward for a replacement for Superman. Oh, well done, Forrest. That was very quick. Very swift
Straight on
work
it.
there, my friend.
Straight on it. Very.
I mean, these are all the superheroes that you will not see. Just an FYI, these are all the superheroes we now need to erase from our memories.
Yeah.
James Gunn's just doing a Men in Black little bloop. There you go. We'll forget about that. This is my time now. David Corin Sweat is now Corin Sweat. It's not can't be Sweat. That's very unfortunate if that is the case. Is now going to be officially Superman going forward into Superman Legacy, the movie. This was one of the hot, like I'd say, the biggest rumors in terms of replacement and a suitable replacement for Superman. Now, I just said earlier in the episode, Henry Cavill's the perfect casting for Superman and will always be in my mind. Now, I am excited by this actor because he is a very good actor and I've seen him in a few things before. And I think he holds the presence of a Superman really well. My only issue is, and I'm going to say this now, and I do genuinely wonder, dear listener, you out there, if you feel the same way. I think this is a casting that is too close to the likeness of Henry Cavill. Too close.
Yes.
I feel like they should have gone somewhere completely different. They should have looked at a different type of Superman. We could be looking at, I know we're getting a younger Superman, but just the way this guy looks, he could quite easily be Henry Cavill's younger brother. Yeah. So then why not just keep Henry Cavill? I know the purpose of this movie, and this must be where the decision come from, is that the purpose of this movie is to look at an early stage of Superman. I think we're looking at year 2 of Superman Legacy. It's kind of not the origin, but he's just still in the new phase of becoming the Man of Steel. But I'm interested to see how it goes. I think we're going to see what's quite likely enough, what I've read as well, is that we're likely to see a lot more Clark Kent than Superman himself. Which, to be perfectly honest, I'm actually all there for. I'm obviously going to be watching this movie and be watching it, and I'm pretty confident I'm going to like it because I really like James Gunn's movies. But I think if we're going to get a different tone, I think we're going to get a lighter tone. I think we'll probably have a slightly more comedic tone. This might be heavily influenced by the TV series of the Superman and Lois show. I don't know if you remember watching in the early 90s, mid 90s. I watched that so much. I avidly watched it. So I wonder whether we'll get that kind of essence in there, and as well from the classic Christopher Reeves version of Superman as well in the Superman movies. The quirkiness, the geekiness, the genuineness of Clark Kent coming through this character a little bit more. I think we'll see that because I don't think, and this is probably where you could make an argument that Henry Cavill wasn't so great at in the role of Superman was when he was playing Clark Kent. But I just think that's because we didn't see enough of Clark Kent and we saw him as Superman too much. But yeah, that's where we're at. I think we've also got a Lois casting as well, which Rachel Brosnahan to play Lois Lane. She's also a fantastic actress. And she's an award-winning actress as well. So I think they're both, in terms of her, knowing her as an actress, she's very good at comedy. She's very good at quirkiness as well. So I think it all, sits quite nicely in the James Gunn vibe of which we all know. So yeah. Look,
yeah.
I'm sad, but fine.
I think what he has done well is not gone for recognizable faces, like two well-known faces. Yeah. I think there were. I have a feeling there was a rumor about Nicholas Hoult getting it at one point. Nicholas Hoult. I think Nick did audition for it, but it would just been too like recognizable face. Because obviously, like for a British audience, he's very familiar face. But I did Nicholas Hoult do Maze Runner and stuff in the
Yeah,
end. Yeah.
I think so.
So yeah. So I think I would have been far too synonymous with other things. Whereas what they've done well is gone for a face that you wouldn't recognise in anything else.
We've also they haven't announced and finished the casting of Lex Luthor yet. However, there's rumors that Bill Skarsgård is in the front running to play the role. Not been announced yet, but I think again that would work really well. I mean, I'd be really interested to see how that will work. Yeah, I'm quietly confident, and I have a lot of trust in James Gunn. Okay, but like equally, I'm just a little bit apprehensive, and also just need to get over the grief of Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
do we know what's coming up after that? Has James revealed who he's going to give the spotlight to after Superman? Or do we not know that far yet?
Let's have a look. Let's go.
Go wildly into it.
Get into it. Scoot into it.
Get in.
He did give out a movie slate. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
So we've had the Flash. I mean, we went and saw that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we have our own thoughts on that. I don't know whether we should do that as a separate episode or not. Maybe we should. Maybe we
yes. So we have got. I've got a slate in front of me, mate.
Oh, hold on, mate. Cool.
So we've got Superman Legacy. We've got The Authority. This superhero ensemble dates from 1999 comic book series. The Authority is a group of 7 heroes with very high concept superpowers. Oh wow! With the first appearance of Wildstorm canon in the DC universe, that is brand new to me. The Authority, ever heard of them?
I've heard of The Authority. Yeah, so it's kind of it's not Guardians of the Galaxy, but it is effectively an eclectic mix of misfits. It's like the Suicide Squad, but just on more on a galactic level.
This is one that I didn't realize. So this is what I said. So after we did watch Flash, I mentioned about Batman and Robin because I thought for a long while we haven't had a really good Batman and Robin. But apparently part of the slate, we've got The Brave and the Bold, which is Batman and Robin.
Oh, nice.
Brave and Bold
okay.
Yeah. Star Batman and Robin in crossover stories with other DC characters. DC Studios news release says the DCU will introduce its Batman and Robin in this unusual father-son story inspired by Grant Morrison's comic series.
I've got this comic series, and it is very, very good. It's very good.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Makes sense. So we're going to get Supergirl. We're going to get Swamp Thing. Quite looking forward to Swamp Thing. Like Swamp Thing. We're going to get...
I like a Swamp Thing.
I like a Swamp Thing. I like a thing that's in a swamp.
Yes, I'm a swampy kind of guy.
Swampy kind of guy. Creature Commandos TV series. Gunn is the writer for this series, already pegged at 7 episodes. Director of the Suicide Squad forms another super team out of monstrous prisoners. So we've basically got a version of the Suicide Squad in Creature Commandos. Oh, Waller. It's a series called Waller. If Creature Commandos wasn't enough, this series dedicated to Amanda, again, stars Viola Davis in the lead role. DC Studios says the show will feature Teen Peacemaker and is written by Watchman's Crystal Henry. Wow. We got Booster Gold. We got Lanterns. Oh, last time Lantern was used, that didn't go well, did it?
It didn't. But it will be. I think it'll be fine this time around. I think that, in honesty, I think that should probably be at the forefront in terms of introducing a superhero. I think Green Lantern is well due over a reboot and a rerun, let's say. And I think they should have. I think they should probably put that first. I mean, I know we're getting Blue Beetle, right? But when you think of Blue Beetle, you don't think, massively well-known DC superhero at all. I think
No.
they probably missed the opportunity there to sort of go, let's go in, neck deep with a awesome Lanterns movie. I think it's got
Mm.
potential there. I think it has. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, quite a few different James Gunn projects already announced as part of his slate. I think we will. It's going to be. I tell you what, Matt, it's going to be a busy few years ahead. I can tell you
Mate,
that much.
mate. Yeah, 100%.
It is going to be. There's going to be a lot of cinema visits for me and you, my friend.
I have a feeling what's going to happen. This is great in terms of we whenever we talk about what's the next year of our podcast going to look like, because we're going to be caught up in terms of everything that we're reviewing and talking about. I think we're going to be like turning and flipping over to the DC side
Yeah.
for quite some time. I think we're going to be really focusing in on the stories in the DC. I think MCU are just going to be churning out their stuff, but now, as you can see by the delays, it might not be as frequent as we once thought with MCU. So I think, yeah, James Gunn has got a real opportunity right now to really push in, especially now with no San Diego Comic Con, with with Marvel being there. He has got a serious chance to go in there and release so many exciting things and really get fans on side. And I hope he does.
I'm really excited.
I
I feel like it's 2008 all over again, and this is James's way of going right. Let's get a brand new universe, some brand new icons. I can't wait. I'm very excited.
Yeah,
Yeah, bring it on. I say
bring it on, mate. Wow, there we go. This has been delightful. Look at
an
this little
absolute
space that we're
pleasure.
in.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Our little, our little boxes. Look at us in our little boxes. There we are. So we're gonna do more of this. We'll bring some game. I think let's bring some gaming in. We can do some watch-alongs as and when
Oh,
we're able to. There'll be all kinds of stuff we can do now. That we'll be roping in. So big changes. Also, me and Matt are going to talk about our merch at some point, so we can re-release and actually promote merchandise. That'd be nice.
yeah, we are. We need
Please do not use our merchandise as in. Have we removed the link?
I have on my no, I don't think on Linktree. We need to get off Linktree.
Okay,
You
we're
control
gonna
the
get it
Linktree.
off linked. Let's not. Please do not buy merch. Do go on our Patreon. Our Patreon. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And we'll see you on the flippity flip.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Bye now, peeps.